you guys can see and all is well. Everybody's saying they can, so I'm excited about that as we enter in a whole lot more people. Now we're at 250. Woohoo! People from all over the country. And we are going to talk about you. We're going to talk about saying goodbye to 2020 and hello to 2021 and how to start your staging and design kind of side hustle. All right, let's go. And like I said, get ready to chat. It all started with virtual happy hours, which I started when COVID hit. We did these happy hours pretty much every week together, and we went over kind of how do we pivot as an industry, which was pretty exciting. Thank you a lot. You guys are great. Everyone's like, yeah, I can see and hear you. How many of you guys were at these virtual happy hours when I did them back in March and April when COVID hit? I'm just curious. So I started out with, okay, here's the email to send your clients. Here's how we pivot. Yeah. And then I created an entire guide for the industry to walk stagers and designers through how they could take their business remote. You know, I mean, and as an industry, oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. We totally pivoted. We did remote consults. We used FaceTime. We used technology. And I gave you kind of some items that you could use for your business and all of that, in case some of you guys are wondering, because people still ask me about that training, is for free. I did it for the industry. It's at this link, homestagingresources.com/grow. If any of you guys are interested, but it all started with this. This presentation is actually a brand new one because throughout those weeks of our happy hours together, I came across a lot of I learned a lot of things. So let's talk about what you are going to learn in this presentation. I have a lot to go over with you guys. I have a lot of new stuff to share, but we're going to talk about lessons and a survey learned from the COVID crisis. I'm going to take out my crystal ball and we are going to talk about real estate and staging industry predictions for 2021. I'm going to give you a roadmap to getting started quickly, a checklist, mistakes I've seen stagers make and how to avoid them, zero overhead niches and how to expand smartly. And all along the way, I'm going to share with you inspiring stories and photos from dreamers and people like you. And if I do all sorts of great information, is it okay? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Yes, if I tell you a little bit about my courses and give you a limited time discount, my last discount of the year. Is that okay? You can go ahead and put yes. Great. Okay, yes. Oh, you guys are great. I'm glad. Get used to chatting because that's how I know when things are working. Last week, things were not working so well, so I'm just so grateful everything is working right now. All right, you guys are a good group. So who is this for? This is for those people looking into the staging industry. You guys were so good about filling out that survey, and a lot of you are fit this, and I get it because, you know, I've been there and pretty much everybody on this line has been there. It's for new stagers. This is also for my veteran stagers and even my members. When I say HSR members, those are people who have taken any one of my trainings, particularly my staging and design training, but it's really for those people who just love design. If you love design, you are in the right place, my friend. Agents needing information on staging, yeah. So hopefully one of these fits you because we have a lot to chat about. Pretty much, you know, you're in the right place when you like to see photos like this before photo turn into this after photo. I should preface, if you can, don't do voice recordings because that's kind of thrown off. I don't really understand it and that could be distracting. I don't want the training to go best because everybody's doing voice recordings, so don't do it. So great. So you're in the right place for that. Who am I? If you don't know who I am, my name is Audra Slinky. I'm president of the Home Staging Resource, and I actually launched the first kind of mixed media online staging and design training company. It's been around since 2006, but I was just like you, I was a stager first, launched that training, and I blog for the National Association of Realtors. I've won some awards I'm proud of. I shared the stage with Barbara Corcoran and Sabrina Sordo and Vern Yip at RESA conventions, which I speak at a lot. But most importantly, the thing I love, my big passion is I love training, and I'm so proud to have trained the most award-winning, successful stagers in the industry. And you know who they are if you're looking into the industry and you look at other stagers' websites. When you see this little logo, my HSR certified stagers and designers, Those are my people. And so you'll just know, okay, that's somebody who's gone through my course. And I since have launched a color course and an e-design course, kind of a consultation-based courses that were kind of segues after staging and design. So if you have been in any one of my trainings, if you're a member of mine, I love to get a shout out in the chat room because you guys are the reason I do what I do. Love you all. And it always makes me feel good because I get nervous every time I do these. So shout out is good from my peeps. Great. Want to make sure you guys can see and hear me. I'm not seeing much now. Let's see. Yay. Okay, good. It's all happening. Good. I want to make sure. All right. So this training did start with a story. And the story probably is a lot like everybody's stories that is interested in design and starts looking into staging. It actually fits my story as well, but I really loved it when Jackie Hill shared this. And it was several stories. When COVID hit and people purchased, oops, I'm going to see, I've got, oh, good. When COVID hit and people purchased my training, I interview people every time they do, and I ask them kind of these key questions. I ask them what their goals are. I'm so excited about what their plans are for their business, their new business, or whether they have an existing business. Well, anyway, Jackie Hill is answering those questions. And when I asked her kind of what are your hopes and goals, she said to me, I would love to do this full time. Life is too short not to dream big and go after your dreams with everything you've got. I want to wake up every morning excited to get out of bed, doing what I love, all the while helping others. They say you'll never work a day in your life if you're doing what you love. How cool is that? She was very keen on her goals. You can see when she sent this to me, it was April 20th of 2020, right when COVID hit. And I was like, wow, but she wasn't alone. I noticed that on a lot of getting to know you forms. So that's why I created this training. So it's very, very new. And that actually brings me to you because here we are kind of 7 months later from kind of COVID kind of rocking pretty much all of our worlds or the world. And I want you to just be really honest. This is kind of the honesty training, transparency training in the chat room. If you're feeling brave to inspire and comment and help others, have you been struggling with wanting to do something more with your life and time during this time of COVID? Something maybe more aligned with your passions. How did you feel? Like for some people, I know when I gave this training before back in April, they said, I've grown a garden. I've been redesigning my space. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I did too. So I get it. Indeed. Oh, I love Heather. OMG. Yes. You guys are great. Keep chatting. So going back to that story, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to share a lot more stories. And these stories kind of come from, I have a private Facebook group. When somebody signs up for my training, just so you know, it's called Stagers Connect, and it's our support, inspire, grow kind of private Facebook group. So when you see like bubbles of someone's story, you know that's where it came from. Gosh, you guys are great. Someone's doing painting. Couldn't say yes any louder, Nikki says. Yeah. No, that's why I loved creating this training. So what I did was very recently, I threw out in that Stagers Connect group to my people, I said, hey, beauties, I'd love to hear from some of my newer stagers who totally changed their life due to COVID. You started your staging and design business. You know, I'm checking in with them 6 months later, and I'm really curious about number one, what prompted their journey, how their life has changed. Do they have any regrets? How are they feeling about their future? And it was really interesting when I threw this in there right away. I got 36 comments. So it was really pretty cool. And some of the comments were things like Karen, who said, I retired after 40 years of public education. Becoming certified as a stager and color expert has given me my second act, and it fulfilled a lifelong dream that I had. My partner and I were both at a career crossroads, and this was an answer to prayers, and we're so excited. I kind of love that because, how many of you guys are teachers out there? A lot of my teachers' lives have been totally changed, Zoom school, all of that. So Karen was able to just go, you know what, I'm ready, I'm retiring, and I'm doing my second act. And I kind of love what she said. She went from Dr. Brack to designer Brack, which is really cute. And Nancy says to me, I'm a 32-year flight attendant who took a voluntary leave due to COVID. I've always had a passion for design. I decided it was time to pursue it. My goal is to not have to return to flying at the end of her leave in 2022. She's 52, and it's never too late to follow your dreams. And then Lisa, who chimed in, Nancy, let's not go back to our old jobs. We've created new ones. You're going to hear Lisa's story in a bit. And I love it. Nancy gave her a heck yeah. So super cool. How many, I mean, I've seen people from the flight attendant. How many of you guys in the chat are from that? Yeah, someone's a teachers, a flight attendants, people whose kind of day jobs have been a little bit rocked due to all of this. Or Patricia, who is 58, she was laid off from her day job, which I think speaks to a lot of us. And I've been laid off, so I have been there due to COVID, and she's newly divorced. Not a great time. She's very honest. I have to have a steady income and benefits. So I'm waiting for my day job to come through, and it will. I love her positive. She's awesome. Then I can do my side staging gig. I have spent this time preparing my resumes and cover letters, but she's also spending this time wrapping up her hopes and dreams in a staging and design side hustle. How cool is that? She says that she's made a lot of connections in the Stagers Connect group with some people, and she loves the idea that she's finding that being creative and learning new things is really helping her through this tough time. I love that. So how many of you guys can relate to some of these gals? How awesome is that? Getting back to that question for you, and you guys were all wonderful. I love it. You're talking about changes, talking about it, what you want to do, something more aligned with your passions. Well, you're not alone. It's like COVID just brought this all to the surface for us. And in a survey that was kind of post-COVID, 80% of people who took that survey were determined to find the silver linings to their days spent inside. They were determined not to waste their time on Netflix, even though I'm still doing a lot of that. Anyway, 2/3 of those people said it was really important to them to achieve something through all of this. So that kind of speaks to a lot of the stories I've already told you of being productive, learning something. 57% are looking forward to partaking in activities and passions they never would have had time for normally. I love it, right? So does this survey kind of speak to you? Could you give me a quick yes, yes, yes? All right. This brings me back to you. And I love it. You guys are great, great, great. Brings me back to you. Did you decorate your room as a child or your Barbie house? If you were like me, what I wouldn't have given for a Barbie house this large that this little girl has, I think I would have, done a lemonade stands every day for a year. Yeah. Yeah, you did. Do you love HGTV and love looking at homes online? Do you get tingles? So I get tingles when I go into bookstores and I go straight to the home design section, or just get a new design magazine or new design book. That really puts me in my happy place. I'm still the kind of person who likes books. Great. Yeah. Did you know you could make money doing it? And I know a lot of you know, that's why you're looking into the industry, but that's kind of where I'm at. And what you also need to know is you are a rare bird. I used to call it kind of that rare sickness of someone who can take a room like this and turn it into something like this. This is Karis Home Solutions. And it's a real special person that can do that. And most people in this world do not have that passion. They just don't. In fact, statistically, less than 10% of us are actually like that. So we are kind of rare birds. And that brings me to some lessons learning from COVID. What are the lessons that you think you've learned? I'm going to ask you. You can put some comments in the chat. And I saw some of you were already really good about mentioning that. I love it. Yeah. For me, some of my lessons is absolutely a sense of appreciation for my health, right? And my family, because I was hunkered down with them for a long time. I'm sure you were too, still am. And my home, right? Enjoying my space, right? I love it. You guys are so good. I just can't wait to read this chat afterward. Anyway, I'm also, one of my lessons is I'm very grateful for a career that I can do remotely online. And I was also grateful to teach stagers and designers how to do that as well with their career. But I still have that uneasy feeling that things can change on a dime. And that's what COVID taught me too. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but I still feel like I've got to pinch myself when I'm walking through Lowe's last night and everybody's wearing a mask. It feels surreal. Am I wrong? Yeah, you guys are great. Good. Lessons learned. I feel like everything kind of comes to the forefront for us. And for me, very personally, I shared, if you follow my Facebook, which I hope you do now that you're, on my workshop, one of my besties. I had a senior in high school. Here he is, Trevor. And here is my at the time my sophomore. This is February before COVID. They were off to a prom formal. And life changed for him on a dime, right? All best laid plans and all of that. We visited all the colleges, we did all the research, we wrote down all the pros and cons. He accepted at this great college. He was ready to go in August, and then he gets the word that school will be remote, and then he gets the word that the dorms are closed, and he just says, Mom, I don't know if I can start college from home, remote. Not everyone's like that. I get that. And so now here he is working. He did a gap semester Northwest tour with a small private group of kids, and he's working cutting tile for Habitat for Humanity. Talk about pivot, right? And I'm sure you've seen it in your own family, but I have to share it because it's kind of near and dear to me because it shows how quickly life can pivot. I just got off the phone with him today, and he says he couldn't imagine life without this trip, that things he wouldn't have done this otherwise, right? So we grow. And it kind of brings me back to you about this change in comfort zones. And I love this image because here is our comfort zone. And your growth usually starts or happens when you're outside of your comfort zone, which is so, so true. And even though I kind of vacillate sometimes between fear and appreciation of all that I have going through this time of COVID, it has forced me out of my comfort zones. Has it forced you out of your comfort zones? Doing something differently. A lot of you already mentioned that, which I think is really cool. And you should be really, really proud that you have. Personally, having just turned 50, celebrating a big 5-0 a couple weeks ago, I feel more creatively energized than ever before. And I never thought I would, so that's kind of out of my comfort zone. This also gave me time to reflect and consider and move in new directions. And I am really fired up about 2021. Are you guys? I hope you are. So that leads me to one other story I have to share you. Lisa actually sent me a separate email after reading my question to her on Stagers Connect. And look how gorgeous this gal is over here. She says to me, I hope my story can encourage and inspire. I have had a series of highs and lows since March when the pandemic hit. All of my work as a makeup artist came to a halt. My job of 22 years at NBC came to an end October 9th. My severance pay was $3,000 after taxes, and I worked at KTLA 5 years, ESPN. I realized in March this was the perfect time to reinvent myself and do all the things I love to do. I worked long, hard hours for someone else, and I needed to put that same energy into my own business. How many of you guys in the chat room can relate to Lisa? How cool is that? She says afterward, I vow never to work that hard for someone else again. 3 explanation points, which I love. Makeup isn't glamorous as everyone thinks, but it has afforded me a lot of things. Last year, she bought a new home. Her anxiety, as you can imagine, was at an all-time high because she wasn't confident my other work would pick up. Searching for an opportunity, she came across Home Staging Resource. Guys, that's my business, Audra's, and she realized that she had looked into my course 2 years ago. I know I didn't go forward then 2 years ago because of fear. Fear of losing stability of my job and starting over. I couldn't do both at the same time because I'd worked long days. I am a single mom and stability is key. But now is the perfect time. I'm not getting any younger, laugh out loud. I'm no longer afraid. How cool is that? How many of you find yourself a little bit braver during this COVID time? I think I do too. What did you enjoy working on? What in the past were you most proud of? Like Lisa, she kind of came full circle, and you'll hear more about Lisa's story. So how many of you have done something new to your house? Look at you guys. Yeah, I love it. Lisa, you rock. You're great. I know I'm asking you way too many questions. The chat can't support it all. There's over 350 of you guys on here. So I know I have. tons of painting. Similar to the survey, we're drawn to those original passions, right? That's really what happened. You're not alone. In fact, this is why I always kind of give recent stats, old and recent, that everybody is doing fixer-uppers. It is harder than ever to find the products that you want at Wayfair or House or wherever. I know you guys are seeing the same thing because Americans are sprucing up their homes. We've learned a lot by staying inside. And in fact, while a lot of retailers kind of took a dive, all of the Home Depot and Lowe's stocks and home builders all went up. They never stopped, right? People are sprucing things up, which leads me to the industry of staging and design. Especially for those of you who are thinking about getting into staging or design. And in fact, how many of you have even taken a design or decorating class? I'm sure quite a few. But the key in my mind, having been trained so many successful stagers and designers for so many years, is I think it's really important that you start with staging first. I'm going to tell you why. Because the new homeowner, of a new home is actually the interior designer's best target market. An interior designer knows that when someone moves into their new home, they're ready to fix it up. They're ready to do the cosmetics. They're ready to do the remodeling. And that is their best target market. But the designer can't find them until after they've moved. But the stager has already found them. The stager actually has first crack. That's why in my training, I teach both staging and design, because you need to know both. If you go into a home and you stage it beautifully, that seller is going to ask you to help them with their new home. That's just the way it works. That's why I say staging is that awesome success path startup model. Start with staging. You can always move to design, but staging is far more easier to market. It's super easy to market. It has target markets that will buy over and over and over from you again. They're called real estate agents. And when you make a few best friends with real estate agents, they put you on all of their listings. I talked about my sister a lot, who's a stager in Santa Cruz. She literally works with almost just one agent that gives her a ton of business. She is so busy. Just one agent gives her tons of business. So there's that low barrier to entry. This is one thing I love about my staging industry, and everyone who is a stager, anyone can say they're a stager. You can hang a shingle tomorrow and say, I'm a stager, let me stage your home. And that frustrates a lot of people, but I think it's also cool because if you have that talent, you've been decorating your rooms and homes since you were a kid, it gives you the opportunity to actually do what you love. It's easy to start. It's inexpensive to start, and it can be done while working. That's why I'm doing this presentation to you guys, because I've had a lot of my stagers do this while working a full-time job. And certification is not necessary, although very helpful. So there's a lot of noise centered around the staging industry. So let me cut through some of it for you. Starting a business, number one, is never easy. Most stagers are not necessarily hiring other stagers. They start their own business. They are entrepreneurs. It takes hustle. But the good news is, guys, it's not hard to be better than your competition. It's not. Staging is the only cost to the seller where it actually makes them money, especially these days where equity booms are happening all over the country. But structure, focus, and mindset really matters as an entrepreneur. No joke, not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. So that's just the truth of it. You have to have that structure, focus, and mindset. But it's so much easier to start today than in the past because opportunity abounds. And this is when I've got my here, I'm circling back to Jackie, actually. Jackie sent me this email. Remember Jackie? She gave the Getting to Know You forum back in April. 6 months later, she's telling me about kind of her COVID story. I'm going to read this really quickly. But her husband, they were on a long walk and they were listening to kind of a podcast. And when it was over, he looked at her. There was a photo of him and he said, "Babe, I think you should jump on this staging business." What a great husband. My husband said the same thing, so I get it. And she said, I was actually thinking the same thing. I had an interest in it before. She signed up. She took the training in April. She had preventative hysterectomy, a double mastectomies in between because she's a high cancer risk. Then she recovered and she just staged a vacant 4,000 square foot home. How amazing is Jackie, right? In the course of 6 months, she did all that and she's already staging. All things are possible, she says, and I'm so thankful for the training. I hate to say it, but if it weren't for COVID, I'd still be thinking about a dream instead of living it. Isn't that amazing? So taking something negative like COVID that we've all been experiencing and actually doing something positive. And here are her photos. Look how beautiful Jackie's work is of her 4,000 square foot home. I know. I told you I had a lot of inspiring stories to share with you, and this is the stuff that I just love. So getting back to the staging industry, it is really hot. Anybody who's been following the real estate market kind of knows it. New listings are climbing. Home buying is accelerating. Home prices are continuing to go up. In terms of my predictions, are we in a bubble? I don't think so. I'm going to show you. I just got this article the 9th. There's 2 pandemic housing trends. So for my stagers out there, these are pretty interesting. One is that people are really, there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of inventory, a lot of movement. Which is good for stagers, right? The more homes that buy and sell means there's a lot of business out there for us. So it's talking about kind of the great movement after that. And also it talks about how the buying frenzy is heating up the second home market. How many of you guys live in kind of vacation rental area? I have an Airbnb training inside my training, guys, because I have a lot of my members who do live in that, and they're really busy right now. Yeah, so the housing boom is nowhere near over. And the main reason why, this is why I like this, is because there's just not enough supply out there. There just isn't. They just can't keep up with the demand. And that's good news for us. Hot housing market won't likely cool in the winter. And for some of you who always say, well, the houses are selling pretty quickly, I actually just did a blog post about how we respond to that. Because at the end of the day, buyers going to pay what they, it will sell fast, but it's not about speed of sale right now. It is about making the most money on your biggest commodity as a seller. And so the agents who are just, pricing them low and just having them fly off the shelves are not known as the agents who are getting the most money for their sellers. And that will hurt them in the long run. Sellers obviously they need the most money, because by the time they turn around and go to buy that other house, they need all the equity they can get. Homeowners saw an average equity gain of almost 10,000. That was amazing. This was September. And so when people have equity, what does that mean? It means they also do design work. So that's why I said all good staging turns into design. I just got an email yesterday. I don't know if she's on. Gabrielle, if you're on the line, she was like, I took your training years ago and I do 100% design now, which I gotta love. I'm like, well, that's how it's supposed to work. Start with staging. It's easier to market, and then you can go in whatever direction you want. So it's kind of that economy proof industry, because it'll always be a little bit tied to the staging and design market. And even when the real estate market was rough, especially back then, homes just needed to be staged to even sell. So we're seeing it. Look at you guys. I love it. You're already thinks. So let's talk about the roadmap to success. Do you guys want to know what are the steps to getting started? Go ahead in the chat room, put yes, if that's where you're at right now. Want to see, make sure you're paying attention. I need some yeses. Yes, good job. It starts with you. The moment you embrace your brand, and I know for a lot of us it's really hard to do, but I told you, you're the independent entrepreneur. So you need to focus on you. And hopefully you've been doing a little bit of that during this COVID. You need to ask yourself, where do you see yourself? Because like I said, there's a lot of different directions you can take your talent, your design work. There's so many different ways you can take it. And your previous story, like I talked about Lisa Morgan or Nancy or all these other stories I'm telling you, their past experiences are what brings them into their business today. So their stories are what resonates and connects with the clients. So start working on your story, and whatever that may be, and take pieces of that story, your strengths, your weaknesses, all of those good things, and put them into how you're bringing that into your new business. Think about what type of work you're seeing yourself doing, whether that's design, whether that's staging occupieds, whether that's color. You can't necessarily be all things, but you can be great at one thing. And the most important thing I always tell people is passions matter. Here's the kicker. If you're not absolutely in love with what you do as an entrepreneur, you're going to get bored. You're going to get burned out. I've been doing this for over 20 years and I'm not bored or burned out. If I had bought a franchise because I thought I was taking a safe route, as an entrepreneur, I probably would be. You got to follow your passion when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur, because that is your gift. It truly is. And I talked to you about this. Everyone has gifts, but not everyone's gifts are the same. Morgan Julie, I love her story. She responded to my question. I'm getting back to that. She was a professional dancer. That was her gift for 20 years. But COVID completely shut down all theaters and performance arts. She had to find a new career. Her parents, landlords, were real estate agents and stagers, and she was really impressed with their work and how they could transform a room from blah to wow, wow, wow. It was her mother's dream to be an interior designer and decorator, and she gave up her dreams when she had children. I always wanted to build a business with my mom, and I'd played around with the idea to open a dance studio with her, but with COVID shutdowns, that wasn't going to happen. I had zero interior design classes. I knew nothing about staging, but I was so intrigued by my parents' landlord's business. I knew this could be the perfect business for my mom and I. There was an exodus happening in the Bay Area, and I knew it would be the perfect time to start staging. I found Audra's class online. I devoured it in a month. I knew this was something I could do with my business background and my mother's sense of interior design. Fast forward 3 months after they opened Studio M, and we are, all caps, she is busy, guys. We are doing vacant stages in million-dollar homes and getting rave reviews. And best of all, we love what we do. We are so happy and couldn't have picked a better career path for us to enjoy together as a mother-daughter team. So she's, thank you for changing our life and bringing hope during such uncertain times. So for some of you who said homes are flying off the shelves, I don't know any other area except for the Bay Area where things are flying off the shelves. Nothing is like the Bay Area. And yet she starts her business, and 3 months later, she is killing it. I love it. So it's incredible what can happen when we take our dreams seriously. But so many of us don't necessarily take our dreams seriously. That is really the problem. It's hard for us to do that. It's hard for us to indulge ourselves, right? You do not choose your desires, guys. They choose you. That's why we love what we're good at, and it comes naturally to us. It's no accident that it's meant to be that way for us. You guys are great chatters. All right. So let's talk about how we make your business align with a passion so you go from nervous to confident. Because every one of these stories, every one of these people in their getting to know you form told me they were very nervous. They're excited, but they're nervous. You know, and how many of you in the chat room would say that that kind of fits you, that you're kind of too nervous to start a business, too nervous, worried about being an entrepreneur? I get it. Fear is a real thing. You can go ahead and say, yes, me, yes, great. You guys are good. Here's the thing. Your gift will fuel your interest to learn more about it. You remember I told you that's your love, that's your interest. And when you learn more about something, that knowledge gives you confidence. So that nervousness goes to confidence. You've been studying design all your life. Sometimes, I know all of you said you related to that little girl in her Barbie house, so I know that about you. Not everyone, in fact, very few people are like you. You've been studying it all your life. Sometimes you just need to trust your instincts. And I always say you may not be as good today as a business person as you will be next year, but you're still better than the home seller who has no interest in design, right? So I never had anyone go through my training, and I've trained thousands, guys, go through my training and say after their first consultation, which you're always going to have a sleepless night the night before your first consultation, but I've never had anyone drive home after the consultation and tell me, what am I doing? I didn't know anything of what I was doing. You know, what a mistake. Never had anyone say that. It was quite the contrary. Everybody tells me after their first consultation or their staging day, like Jackie Hill, that their instincts just kicked in. And those instincts, guys, are from your training yourself all this time. Here's another example I've got to zip through, but Lindsay Knoll, she just sent me this testimonial, but I thought it was pretty also inspiring. She said that during COVID, that's when she started the class. Her state was shut down. That's when she started. She went through the training. She never had the confidence to think she could do it. She had been saying for 2 years she's not equipped or qualified, even though people wanted her to do it. She just wasn't confident. She went through the training. Now she's busier than ever, and she's confident than ever. And I love that because that speaks to me too, because before I start even one of these workshops, my fear just kicks into overdrive. And that fear is false. It is false. Sometimes we just need to squash it down, right? So what would you step out and do if you could not fail? Let's talk about you in 2021. Start small, find your happy place, find your niche. Here's a before. I love this after photo. She lives in a mountain area. How cool is this? A mountain vacation area, staged by Megan. Just love it. So let's talk about those steps to getting started. And all of these steps you could do over the next couple weeks, you guys. Consider your business type. Are you going to be a sole proprietor, LLC? That really just depends on your liability and how much exposure you want. It's pretty easy to become a sole proprietor. I think it costs under like $50. You can Google it, how to become a sole proprietor in your city, state. You'll get the link to just get your license. You choose your business name, you reserve your domain, and then I always say you pop the champagne, because that's the exciting part, is the picking of the domain. Don't you love the Morgan and her mother-daughter? Like, that's a story, right? So pick a name that fits your story and then reserve the website address. That's another $15 item. And then create a website and marketing material. Sometimes it's just business cards that you can hand out or brochures. A website, I've even had some people just use a Facebook page. If you're really on a budget, that's not ideal, but I've seen it. Or you can do like Squarespace or Wix, and you really just need 3 pages. Your story, I talked to you about that, about us, the services that you're going to offer, and your portfolio, guys. So you want to organize, you want to start on that portfolio. A lot of you probably are in the middle of a remodel right now. So make sure you take that before photo, because I know a lot of you are just doing rooms in your own home. Take the before photo from different angles, get good, and then take the after photo. Start creating that, redesigning rooms in your home, in a friend's home. Sometimes it's just a matter of asking a friend, especially right now. Most of them want your help. Then you have to think, do you want to quit your day job? You want to slowly build? I talked about a little bit of costs, but obviously, ideally, I would say get training, my training. Not all training is equal. And that is a big cost. I get it. But you know what? Either way, you're going to love the industry. The training just saves you oodles and oodles of time and gives you extreme confidence and knowledge, gives you all the forms and everything. Marketing materials, business cards, brochure, that doesn't cost that much. I recommend using Canva to do it. Website hosting is a cost. Insurance, especially if you're doing vacant homes, I have an insurance provider. Your computer, your printer, cell, all these things also become, I love what Patricia said, best money spent ever. Great. All of these things that you spend on, and this is the beauty of staging, anything you spend on your business is a write-off to your business, which is amazing. So it's really about, do you want to be a boss or employee? Self-motivation is key. Reap your own rewards. Answer to yourself, set your own schedule, think outside the box. So some of the answers I got, going back to my stories, is Susan Bryant. She's in week 2 of my training. She works for a major utility company, so she has her full-time job, but she's over the corporate BS. How many of you guys can relate to Susan? So she uses this as her creative outlet, and she plans to just work it part-time till she quits her corporate job. I love it. She says down here, I was born to do this. Tanya is thinking outside the box. She's in week 1. And she said that she's so excited. She's a labor and delivery nurse, and she really loves her job. It's super rewarding. She works part-time, but she really wanted to take this time to fill her lifelong love of everything home, design, and styles. Right? How cool is that? So they definitely were thinking outside the box. So let's talk about that. Consulting niche. When I talk about an occupied staging consulting niche, I talk about a niche in which it's kind of a zero overhead niche. And it's really for people who have monetary constraints. If you need more time flexibility, because maybe you're working full time, if you'd like to work with people and offer solutions, if you like the challenge and creativity of working with people's items and solving design issues. If that sounds like you, then an occupied kind of consulting niche versus vacant could be for you. Most homes that are put on the market are occupied, meaning they're just like this house. They have the furniture in it. I like to show this photo because this is a house my sister did, obviously on the ocean, multi-million-dollar home. And she walked in with a report, walked through, told the seller all the stuff they needed to do cosmetically, paint, fixtures, that sort of thing, to dial it in. She worked with what they had. She went shopping for them, got the shopping, did the shopping, and here's the after. So you can see they did the cosmetic. She comes in and does the staging install. So then with all the items that she shopped for them, she doesn't spend on anything, right? She gets the money for the consultation, gets the money for the shopping, and gets the money for the installation. So it's a zero overhead business. This is the same house before and after made better. Now this home is getting 6 figures more, right? Yeah. So that's the difference. So how do you make money with that zero overhead just doing consults? 2 staging consultations a week. And granted, some of you asked about pricing. Here's my best shot at telling you what pricing is. Usually a typical staging consultation is a 2-hour kind of walkthrough, which she did in that home, $100 an hour, so you make $200 each, give or take where you are throughout the country. This is an average, right? Obviously, New York City, Newport Beach, different than a smaller town, so kind of your thing. So 2 hours of shopping, $150, charge $75 an hour to shop for the client. A staging day at install, $700. Maybe she did 1 color consultation in their new home, and you're making $1,600 a week or $83,000 a year, and that is a zero overhead business. She did not have to spend really anything other than her cell phone and the little business stuff that I walked you through. That's a few $100s for just working 15 client hours a week. So for those of you who are working full time and you just want to set your own schedule, you can work evenings, work weekends. If she did another day of design, she's hitting over 6 figures, working 20 client hours. So I always like to show the math for people because I know that's kind of what people are trying to figure out on pricing. So the keys to consultation success, you want to broaden your services. You don't just want to offer staging occupied, and you can outsource the vacant if you want. I told you I have a really good network of people, and so sometimes I have some of them where some will just take the vacant, they don't want the occupied, and others, they'll work together. So it's kind of nice. You always want to upsell your design work. So every good staging job turns into design. Start with staging, do design. E-design is kind of a kickoff to design. That's one of my courses. And color. Color I really love, especially right now. How many of you guys have done, I know some of you mentioned that you're doing a painting project. Color is a gateway service because people are afraid of it. People make mistakes with color more often than they get it right. Right? Am I wrong, people? It also offers more bang for the buck, and everyone knows that. And color trends have changed drastically, and I sense they are changing again. Yeah. All right. So I'm offering you guys a discount. And this is a discount. This is when I'm going to throw it out. It's a coupon code, and it is my last discount of the year on my color course, on my staging course, on my e-design courses. This time I've done it a little different. It's a coupon code. This color course, I'm not going to get into the details of my color course or e-design course. You can go to my course page. I'll show you where that is in a bit. I'm going to send this all in email to you too for those of you, but it's a $50 discount. It expires, no joke, Friday at midnight. And all you need to do, here's where my courses page is, homestagingresource.com/courses. Click on any one of the courses you're interested in buying. The discount is for the full price payment, and the code is GREAT2021. Do you guys see that? GREAT2021, all caps. Because I want you guys to have a great 2021. I hope those stories are inspiring you guys, to think about learning, think outside the box. I know a lot of people are sometimes on the cusp of just diving in and starting something new. And if that $50 is what is making you go, okay, I'm going to do that, then that is what I want for you. I'm actually going to see if I have the call to action. Actually, I don't think I do. I'm going to send you a link to the courses, but you can always go take a photo of this, homestagingresource.com courses. Just remember, write this down, Great 2021, and you get your $50. Yay! I know some of you guys, there it is. We're waiting for that one. So think about that. Think about focusing on niche. I have some people who just do e-design. They just dip their toe into e-design. E-design class is where we give them all these great boards they can send to clients. We also have boards for staging essentials. If you follow my blog, you know it. I'm going to give you guys my holiday gift guide in a follow-up email, which you are going to love because I'm telling you the best gift giver I know. Like, I have a very large group community of gal friends, and this girl is the bomb. She's the one that does all of the birthday shopping for all of our group. You guys have friends like that. And she put this together. She did my quarantine one too. And I know some of you bought a lot off that. This is your gift guide for men and women. I will be emailing that to you. So even if you want to dip your toe, do the color or do the e-design, and then, or do all, and you save for all of it $150. You have nothing to lose by trying and everything to gain by trying. I'm going to give it to you up in a follow-up email, you guys. You're great. So let's get back to the session, and then I'll take questions on my training at the end because I want to get through this for you guys. You guys are awesome. For some of you, what do you need to let go? I need you guys to think about this. You need to let go of some things, like your limiting beliefs. The imposter syndrome. I told you that before I do any workshop, I always feel like, what am I doing? I don't deserve to do this, right? We all have that. The need to be perfect. The need for stars to be aligned. Time is ticking. Remember those stories, you guys. The fear of failure. And I should say it's $50 off my courses. My courses are all different prices, so you can go to that page and see it. The fear of failure, I see that really resonates. Nerves, yes, I get it, you guys. But I'm going to get back to Lisa's story, because remember, she was saying how fear is what held her back 2 years before. Well, this October 12th, she lost her dad. He was a pro baseball player and has been hard to mourn in private. A lot of people didn't realize the connection until his passing. He was a lot to many people, and some of you actually know who Joe Morgan is. He's a famous Hall of Fame baseball player. But to her, he was simply just her dad. He instilled in me hard work, create a legacy, show up, be professional, and own your own business. I was always fearful to own my business, but I hear my dad telling me, you can do it. Of course I can. I have been a single mom for 12 years. I have fallen many times, fixed my hair and makeup, and I've gotten right back up. And sometimes, you guys, especially those of you who put fear of failure, we've all been there. You can do it. You can do it. And age is definitely not anything to hold back. I have had 70-plus-year-olds take my course, and they just do consultations. I love it. My mom did it, so I love it. Now, here's some of the mistakes stagers make, because I told you I'd walk through some of that. Sometimes they invest in too much inventory. As much as it's super fun to go shopping, you guys, don't do it. My training kind of walks people through kind of slowly. Don't invest in inventory unless you plan on doing vacant staging. And not all homes are vacant, right? Not investing enough time in their portfolio and in their story. Put your story out there. Don't make it boring. Do your selfie. Not picking a type of business first to pursue. I think that's good to kind of know your strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes stagers let clients decide for them. They're sitting around, they're waiting for their phone to ring instead of getting out there and doing the hustle. I told you guys, you got to hustle. You got to be true to you. Create a business that fits your lifestyle, not someone else's. I was very clear on that in the beginning when I started my staging and training business. I got an offer to do an HGTV show. I had to move to Washington, D.C. That was not true to me. I had 2 young boys. Wasn't going to do it. I value freedom and creativity. So sometimes for some of us, we need to say no, right? To what we can't do. And that's okay, because we're the boss. You're the boss. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You have the gift. People need it. So trust your instincts. And celebrate your success. Really celebrate. If COVID taught us anything, it's to celebrate the little things. Do you agree with me? Put yes in the chat room. Celebrate the day you pick your business name. Celebrate your first client. Celebrate, throw your business out to your friends and celebrate the room changes that you make with them. Enjoy those little wins. Each portfolio photo, the business cards you create, the shopping that you do, because you are building something special that you can call your own. And very few people can do that, right? Very few people can say they've done that. In my training, I have kind of a getting started guide. It's kind of small steps while working. And I know that when people check things off, it's a checklist, right? How many of you guys like checklists? I'm a big checklist person, and I know when people start the training, they know that about me. But here's kind of the first 20 checklists. I first want people to get personal, which I've kind of gotten with you guys a little bit here. Find an accountability partner, set your vision, remind yourself of that vision, invest in yourself, become inspired, and then research, decide on your structure, name your business, all these good things. Really, very few of them cost anything, but that's what's exciting. And the most exciting thing about our industry and becoming a stager, and I know a lot of you will agree with this, is the ability to shop to the trade. How many of you guys love that? My stagers out there can attest. You are like a kid in a candy store when you go to the market. Here is me and my sister shopping the World Trade Center. And when you become a stager and designer, you get to the trade, meaning all the places you're probably already shopping, like Pottery Barn and Ballard and all of these other places, you get discounts. You get discounts. So right now, get your catalogs in, right, for Christmas. And that's one of the huge perks and one of the things I love. I know I miss the market too. And one of the fun things about it, because this speaks to us, because again, you're that rare bird I know who loves design and loves to shop. Not everyone's like that. So real quick tips on marketing. Let's talk marketing. This is important. You really need to market according to your location and your strengths. This is a mistake I see some stagers make. I have a whole week on marketing in my training, so I don't take it lightly. As you can see, even from this workshop, marketing's just kind of my thing. I love it. So your strengths is, know what you'd be good at and reach people there. Your location means if you live in a big city, Google pay-per-click. Just put an ad in Google so that when anyone's searching for a stager, you come right to the top. And make sure that that link doesn't go to your website homepage. Put it to your services page with a buy button for that client, right? Make it really easy for people in the big city, because they are searching for you there. If you don't believe me, go to Google and you can go straight to the top if you're willing to pay for it. And those first dollars are really critical dollars to get over the humps. Pretty easy. If you live in a more rural area, it's all about networking, which is also really cool and fun because it's a smaller town, so the word gets around. That's kind of the way that works. Make sure you're in all the places your ideal client would look for you. Marketing is a numbers game, and most stagers aren't playing it. That's my encouragement to you. It's very, it's not as competitive as people think. Because the fact is, let me ask you guys this in the chat room. Put a yes. Can you tell I'm enthusiastic about what I do? Can you tell that I love sharing these inspiring staging stories and hearing about people who completely do a 180 in their life and they're just stoked about it? Yeah, that is my enthusiasm and my passion for what I do. And I love this quote, because marketing, that's all that is that enthusiasm for what you do, changing sellers' home, redesigning rooms. It's just transferred to the customer. So when you're absolutely authentic and transparent about what you love doing, and you tap into that every day, people will love it. Don't worry. Because getting to where you want to go, it doesn't just happen. It takes careful planning, productivity, and motivation. Motivation, it's in planning and productivity. It's what stagers do to make a room that starts like this and gets it to this. That doesn't happen overnight. It's intentional, it's focused, and it's how things get done. So creativity and daily indulgence. Creativity is like a muscle. So you've been strengthening, a lot of you have been strengthening those muscles in COVID. They've been laying dormant for so long. But the good thing about creativity like a muscle is the more you do it, guess what? The stronger you get, the better you get. And you have this compass inside you that is drawing you towards your creativity, drawing you toward that gift, but you don't have the map, right? Nobody has the map. We all just have that compass. It's our true north. So learning the business part, that's what I teach. And I also teach a lot of the how-to. But the business part, that structure that takes away the fear and gives you the excitement, that's the key to success. So I always say, I will give you the map. I will give you the map. So to finish with Lisa's story, she has something to say to you guys. To anyone worried about starting over when you think you're too old, don't. Who was that said it? Margaret. You owe it to yourself. This course has given me the confidence to get my name out there. I have so many plans for the Morgan residence. Before I officially open, planning around November 15th, I have utilized all my contacts that I have made over the years, and they are paying off. I was their makeup artist, therapist, so now I ask them for help. You would be surprised how many people actually will help you if you just ask them. This has been my biggest weakness. I am too independent and I never want people to think I need help, but you really just need to ask. So this is her advice to you. And I love this advice, you guys. Take the trip, eat the cake, and buy the shoes. Life is too short. How many of you guys can relate to that one? Say yes, if it's right. She dedicates her business to her father, which I love it. So she's killing it. I love it. Details and systems matter. That's what I teach you. The right structure of your consultations and your marketing will make or break your business. I promise it will. Not all training is the same. So I give you the map. What is the map? It is a 3-week certification training to A to Z. 21 days. There is nothing in this training I have not thought of or covered for you. You have the support group of Stagers Connect. You have an 800 number to call, and you have me via email. I am your trainer. I have trained the most successful people in the industry. You can always refer back to it. This is why an online training for this industry is the most important thing you can do. You take a classroom, and 3 months later, when you get that first consultation, you're freaking out going through your classroom notes instead of tapping into a video of me going, you can do it. Here's what you need to do, right? You need to go back to the class. And that's the beauty of online training, is you can always go back to the class. You get a hard copy manual. I know that people learn just like this. You see a lot of slides, you're touching, you're feeling. I give you a hard copy manual that's mailed to you, corresponds with an online training area that has all your resources there. And then you get your certification at the end. It is self-paced. You have a year to go through it. So you have a lot of time to plan. This is a really great time to do it, because I have a lot of people, they'd use this time to plan. How many of you guys would love to take this time, or you're taking this time to kind of plan what you want to do for 2021? Your goal setters. How many of you go ahead and put in the chat room? Goal setters. That is kind of me. And I start on those goals usually in November. So how are you going to reflect on the way you spent this downtime? It's really it. You know, that's what this is as we think about 2021. Here is the 3 weeks. It's a lot, I know, but a lot of it is designed to be an ongoing resource for your business. For instance, I have a whole section on realtor presentations, you know, how to give a realtor presentation in a realtor office, because a lot of times they'll ask you to do that. Well, you don't need to, you know, have that memorized, right, in the first few weeks. You only will need that when 6 months from now, an agent calls and says, hey, can you give us a presentation? You'll be like, got that covered, because it's in the training, right? And that's the point. So I'm different than other trainers. I put it all in there. I have a lot of advanced training in there. I have it's staging and design. I cover both. Yes, there's a lot of information. You can always refer back to it. I cover Airbnb. I cover how to shop. I cover going to the market. I cover realtor partnerships. I cover model home, so that when that builder calls you, you'll know how to price that. I cover holiday design, especially right now, guys. Holiday design, Christmas. You know, if you're interested in holiday design, put that Yelp ad out there. Right now, people are looking for Christmas design, Christmas decorating, and just put a page on your site. I have it all priced out. It's very simple. So I give you all the forms, so you're not reinventing. I give you the cheat sheets, the checklists. I give you a lot of things in Canva so you can edit them, make them clean. I give you your pricing, your proposals. I give you the contracts. I give you the order form, so when somebody calls, exactly what questions to ask them, right? So some of those things you're fearful about, I don't know how to take that phone call, or I wouldn't know what to ask. It's all in there, guys. Don't worry. I give you the walkthrough guide, so you know exactly what to look for in each room, and you just check off, circle it. I give you, of course, I told you contracts to protect you, and then of course, you know, I'm a checklist girl, so the checklist so you're bringing what you need to on all your consultations, you know what you're doing, the vacant pricing, and even flyers that you can use in Canva and get printed to give to your agents. I do the marketing materials, all that stuff. Confidence comes from knowledge, so investing in your learning inevitably will lead you to confidence. That's the way this works. Imagine if you liked 1 hour with me, imagine 3 weeks with me. I don't know if you could see my little dancers. I think we're all kind of blocking it, but I always say that this is just 1 hour. I can't cover very much, and I do talk fast. So I always say, give me your passion, 30 days, $950. This is for my staging and design course. That's with the $50 off. And I will show you how to create a successful side hustle doing what you love. To finish with Lisa, this was really cool because I was supposed to give this presentation last week, and she told me, oh, I was so bummed. She was so bummed to miss it because she booked 2 TV appearances for decorating on a budget for the holidays during a pandemic. How smart is she? She's calling in her contacts. She came up with an idea of how do you decorate for the holidays during a pandemic, and she already is going to be on 2 TV appearances. She's waiting for the 3rd. Her confidence is through the roof. She wouldn't have had the confidence to approach them with her ideas if it weren't for the course. Isn't that awesome? So anyway, any of you guys have questions about the training, don't forget the coupon code is GREAT 2021, no spaces, great 2021, to go to my courses page, homestagingresource.com, courses. I am going to send you a follow-up email. It'll include that link with the coupon code, and I'm going to put this in a replay so that you can refer back to it, because some people like to do that, and I will give you your gift guides. So I hope that you had a wonderful time. I should go back to our happy hour. Hopefully you relaxed. Any questions overall that I can help you on the training as we wrap this up to our exactly an hour. Oh, thanks, Renee. You're awesome. You guys are great. Thank you for being such a great group. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you have a wonderful holiday that's coming up, people. All right. Great. Love you all. Take care. And I'll see you in the next live workshop, which will be in 2021. I have a great 2021 planned for all of us. I'll be doing a lot more live workshops for my members and also for the public. And I have a lot of fun things planned. Thank you guys. Take care.